Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today we're chatting with Gregory Taylor from Purpose Investments. But before we get into it, do me a quick favor, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, please. Hey, Gregory, welcome to The Dive.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you just launched a Bitcoin ETF, the first of its kind. Why did the fund decide to get involved with Bitcoin?
Well, this has kind of been the holy grail in ETFs around the world, is that everyone realized how much money was chasing Bitcoin, but it's been a tough asset to buy. You have to open a wallet, you have to go to a crypto exchange, and people want to look for a simple way to get exposure to the commodity. And really an ETF is the best way to get exposure to different commodities. So this has been something that around the world people have been trying to do, and thankfully the OSC gave us approval 2 weeks ago, and we were the first to launch one.
Can you walk us through the mechanics of the Bitcoin ETF?
Yeah, so the Bitcoin ETF, the way it works is we are actually going to go out at any time there's a creation, which is when a new unit of the ETF is formed with purpose. We will go out and through a crypto trader, we will buy actual physical units of the Bitcoin and then store them in a cold wallet with our custodian Gemini. And then we'll actually be able to look after that for you. So the fund is not going to trade with futures. It's going to be backed by physical Bitcoin, which means that it should be able to trade right at net asset value as closely as we can.
So how would you describe the results after the first few days of trading?
Well, we've been pretty happy with it. Being the first, there's always a lot of learning curve as we're trying to get up the curve, and it caught a lot of attention. So it's been interesting, but I think it's been a fairly successful launch the last few days. We got over 400 million of assets under management in the first 2 days. And so far, the third day has been going quite well too. So haven't had any real hiccups trading it. We've been pretty happy with where we're able to keep the price to be close to the net asset value. And I think we're going to get better over time as we improve our functions.
What were the big regulatory hurdles you had to jump over to start the Bitcoin ETF?
The big thing is really just getting the regulators comfortable with the ecosystem. There's certainly been a lot of demand for getting the ETF up and running. And we really just had to prove to them that the ecosystem of the entire cryptocurrency was up to standards that they would expect through other commodities or equities trading arms. And that's really just proving the strength of the crypto market, how the traders are working, how the custody is going to work, that make sure it's going to be able to be safely stored, that it's not going to be subject to different thefts or different areas. And we really had to work through that for the last few years. But as the crypto market has evolved, we were able to prove this to the regulator that it's come up to the standards that we'd expect from equity markets.
Evolve also started a Bitcoin ETF. What differences are there between the two funds?
Yeah, I don't want to speak too much about them. They launched the second day after us. So far with our fund, we were able to capture a lot of the media and a lot of the attention and get a much bigger asset base out of the gates. We hope to maintain that lead. And with scale in this, you're able to spread out your fixed costs over a bigger asset base. So over time, we'd expect the management fees of our product to be a little less than theirs.
Are you looking at creating ETFs for any of the other cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, within the Purpose umbrella, we want to be able to bring innovative solutions across the board to our clients. Bringing the Bitcoin fund was a good leap for us, but we want to make sure that it's not just a one-off in the space. So we're absolutely looking at finding other parts of the crypto ecosystem that we can turn into an ETF and try and make it so it's easy to get access to for retail investors.
So let's talk about ETFs in general. Are there any observations you can share in regards to the company's ETFs and overall capital flows?
Well, ETFs are really a good way to bring to retail investors different sophisticated solutions. It's not that different than a mutual fund, other than it trades throughout the day with a bid-ask spread, and you don't have to wait to the closing price to get in or out. So it offers a really good liquidity, and it makes the ETF brings it so that it trades exactly like a stock would throughout the day with an open and close and a bid-ask. So it's a really efficient way for people to get exposure to an asset class. The ecosystem has really evolved for ETFs has really evolved for the last few years. And Canada's been at the forefront. So we're quite happy to be part of that and look forward to where we can take it in the future.
Our audience is primarily focused on cannabis, small caps, and precious metals. Do you have any ETFs you care to talk about that cover these categories?
Yes, so within Purpose, 3 years ago, we launched the Purpose Marijuana Opportunities Fund, which was the first actively managed ETF in the cannabis sector. This is a fund that was following in the success of the Horizons ETF, the HMMJ, which was the first passive index. But we really wanted to bring active management to the sector. We thought the cannabis sector has got a tremendous amount of opportunity. It's growing quite quickly, but there were a lot of companies in the area that aren't all going to win. So when we launched our fund 3 years ago, which trades on the NEO exchange as the ticker MJJ, it was all about bringing active management to the system so we could manage cash. When things got overheated, we go to a higher cash percentage. And we'd also pick companies that we think would do better than others. So currently the fund is over 60 million in assets under management. And it's really focused primarily on the US MSOs, so multi-state operators, as we think there's a better risk reward in that sector than there is in the Canadian space right now.
For our audience interested in purchasing units of your ETFs, how would they go about it?
So you can, if you have a brokerage account that is open to trading on the TSX, for the cannabis ETF, the ticker is MJJ. Then for the Bitcoin ETF, it's BTCC/B for the Canadian dollar denominated Bitcoin fund, and BTCC/U, which is for the US dollar denominated fund. And you'll trade throughout the day from the TSX normal operating hours, 9:30 to 4. And we're watching it grow, and it should, and hopefully keep getting growing and getting a lot of excitement in the next few days.
Very exciting. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming and joining us on the show today, Gregory.
Great, thanks for having me.
And for our viewers at home, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell. We'll see you next time on The Dive to talk all things small caps.